ESPN has listed another Cleveland Browns player that is expected to be traded by the NFL trade deadline. Welcome into the Browns Report, everybody. I am your host, Joey O'Donohue, and you're not going to want to miss what ESPN's Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano said. They got together, named a bunch of players that are expected to be moved by the trade deadline, and a Cleveland Brown came up that we have not talked about yet on the show. It's very likely this move could happen. Before we get into it, though, make sure you are subscribed to the Browns Report. Can we hit 55K subs today on today's video? We're only 162 people away from joining the family before we hit that next milestone. And what do you get if you do? Daily free Cleveland Browns shows. So if you love the Cleveland Browns, if you're a diehard fan, and you want some free content every single day, it's there for you by the free click of a button. We're here for you always, folks, and we love the Cleveland Browns here on the Browns Report. Okay, up first on the show, it's Jeremy Fowler, who was asked to name a running back that will be on the move. This article was on ESPN.com, and Fowler's response when asked this question was, I'll go with the Browns' Jerome Ford. It's a rookie show in Cleveland. Quinshon, Judkins, and Sampson will man the backfield moving forward. The Browns have remained active in the market with 3 trades executed in recent weeks, and Ford has enough cachet in the league with 1,378 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns over 2023 to 2024 to attract interest. And, I think there's some truth to this as well. I've been saying it for a little bit over a month now that Cleveland should be trading Jerome Ford as he works his way down the depth chart with the 2 rookies coming up to be 1 and 2. Now, they started using Jerome Ford a little bit more in recent weeks, especially in the return game. But I think that's to boost his value a little bit more, and it gives some validity to this claim from Jeremy Fowler that it might attract interest from some teams. If you look at the Browns' depth chart right now, Quinshon Judkins is the workhorse running back 1. I mean, they mainly just used him, and then they'll sprinkle in a little bit of Sampson. They'll sprinkle in a little bit of Ford, as I mentioned, and then Raheem Sanders, who has not been active on game day the past couple of weeks, but he's a big running back if they ever need at the goal line, and they did get rid of Ford, then we could maybe see some Rocket Sanders, who did well in week 1 as well, for first touchdown of the Cleveland Browns season. And so Ford being traded, it would probably only get you a 6th or 7th round pick, maybe a 5th if we could really fleece a team, stretch it out, say, get Ford for a 5th. That'd be a great deal for Cleveland. But regardless, I think you get another draft pick for Jerome Ford. That's absolutely a steal for Cleveland. That would be ideal. And it could end up being like a late round pick swap, kind of like we saw with Flacco. But I think Ford has a little bit more value than that. And maybe you get a 6th or 7th for trading Ford. And Andrew Berry has been stacking up draft picks for next year's drafts, folks. It's looking pretty dang good. Dan Graziano had this to say as well in the article. Teams I expect to have interest in acquiring a running back ahead of the deadline include, but are not limited to, the Chiefs, Texans, and Chargers. So let's talk about some possible destinations for Jerome Ford. Who will Cleveland be trading with if they move number 34? Well, the Texans would be funny because they already have our other former running back, Nick Chubb, as their starter. But it'd be kind of weird if they did that, right? Because you think Joe Mixon could come back at some point. They got that young Woody Marks backing up Chubb as well, who's looking pretty good. So it'd be funny. They had Ford and Chubb. What, are you trying to copy us? But a little bit weird if they were to make this move. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they need rushing help right now. You thought Pacheco was going to be their guy, but I got a stat to show you here about the Chiefs' rushing game in 2025, and it is weird, folks. I mean, their leading rusher right now is Patrick Mahomes through 6 weeks of the NFL season. Mahomes, who's not even a very quarterback known for his running ability. I mean, he can move, but he's not like a Lamar Jackson. He doesn't take off and run all the time. He leads the Chiefs in rushing, with 222 rushing yards. Pacheco is second, and then they have another one of our former running backs, Kareem Hunt, who's got 187 yards this year, but they desperately need the help in that game. Now, I think the Chiefs want a little bit more of a star than Jerome Ford. I mean, this is a team that the AFC is shockingly wide open to everybody this year. I mean, we thought, okay, the Bills are the team then. Well, they just lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Falcons. I mean, it's so open that all of a sudden it's like, well, the Chiefs would just do it every year. Who's to say they're not going to come out of the AFC again? I think they want someone that can make a bigger impact. They might go out and get more of like a Breece Hall type of player, an Alvin Kamara, 2-star running backs who are on the market right now. So that would be my only hesitation with that. But they need a running back. Jerome Ford is on the block for Cleveland. The Chargers, the other team Dan Graziano had mentioned, well, they really need short-term running back help. That's the key here because they've been plagued with injuries in their running back room. This could absolutely make sense for the Browns to trade with Los Angeles. I mean, this is their starting running back right now. Kimani Vidal, Hassan Haskins, the backup. You probably don't even know one or two of these guys. And they're the number 1 and 2 on the Chargers depth chart. That's because their rookie, Omarion Hampton, is on IR, as is Najee Harris. Look, the Chargers are a good team, and they need immediate help. This makes sense to me. They would put a cheap price, a late pick, to go out and get Jerome Ford. He'll help them for the next couple weeks, just like he was the starter in Cleveland last year for a few weeks. And so they're a good team. They're in contention, and they need the help right now, immediately. They'll get Hampton back later, and they'll go to their young starting rookie running back. But for right now, just kind of like how the Bengals called us up and said they need a quarterback for right now. Here's a 5th-round pick. I can see the Chargers doing that. We need a running back right now. Give us Ford. He would be cheap, and he would help them out for their immediate situation until Hampton is able to come back. Folks, be the GM for me. Play the role of Andrew Berry. Should the Browns trade Jerome Ford? If you think they should, type Y for yes in the comment section. If you don't think so, if you think he should be the backup to Judkins, well, type N for no in the comment section. Like I said, I think it's a good idea. It's rookie season in Cleveland, rookie running back season specifically. You do not need to hang on to Jerome Ford. I believe he's on a contract here as well. Before I get into some more teams that Cleveland could be trading with, I'm excited to tell you that this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. And honestly, I'm just so hyped that Browns football is back on Sundays. All is right with the world, and I'm big into daily fantasy with PrizePicks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining. And before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. And PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. I had to go make a lineup for myself. And we got division opponents playing on Thursday night. Well, give me Jamar Chase more than half a touchdown and our boy Joe Flacco less than 235.5 passing yards. He's not doing that against the Steelers defense. Finally, I like how Trevor Lawrence has been playing. Give me more than half a passing touchdown for Lawrence. If you want to try and make some money, you can tail me, make this same lineup, or make your own. But to do so, you got to download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. All right, folks, let's get into the remainder of teams that still need running backs. You can actually go ahead and put 4 of these on here, Producer Reed, because the first 3 we got from Graziano. I'm adding 2 to this list. The New England Patriots, one that was talking to some Patriots insiders, and they say the Pats desperately need a running back right now, folks. Let's get into their situation going on. First of all, Antonio Gibson, supposed to be a guy they use a lot heavily in the run game. Well, he's out for the season. You see him at the very bottom there. Gibson on IR, out for the year. And Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. Well, first of all, Cleveland made the right choice drafting Quinshon Judkins and not Travion Henderson. Judkins was the better Ohio State running back, folks. And Stevenson has had a fumbling problem. I mean, the Patriots' history, running backs have never been their strong suit. You're seeing that once again this week. And so the 2 backs have not been producing very well. They, like I said, fumbling issues. And last week against the Saints, it was really bad. So due to injuries, lack of depth, Jerome Ford would add to that depth chart and make things a little bit better. I mean, the yards per carry against the Saints was awful. for Henderson and Stevenson. So Patriots need the help desperately. I think they're actively going to look for a running back and a wide receiver. But in this case, Jerome Ford being on the block, I could see this happening. For sure, it all makes sense. Chargers and Patriots, if anyone's going to pay a late-round pick for Ford, those two make some sense to me. So that would be 4 teams through here, and I've got one more for you guys that needs a running back. Will Cleveland make the deal? The Washington Commanders, similar situation. They have suffered with some injuries to their running back room, to their running back depth chart. And so you look at this, they've got a 7th-round pick running their offense at RB1. Austin Eckler went to IR, and they could use some help in that room as well. I think Jerome Ford would be a nice piece to mix in there with McNichols, with Bill Krosky-Barrett, who hopefully emerges as a fantasy football stud, as everyone said. But like I said, they're relying on a 7th-round pick to be running back 1. If you can give up a cheap pick and get Jerome Ford, that might help as well. Now, I say it's possible, but if I had to predict where Ford is going, I wouldn't say it would be the Commanders because they do have 3 that they mix in there. It's kind of a little running back by committee, and maybe Krosky-Barrett can emerge as the star that a lot of people on Twitter want him to be. So I wouldn't necessarily predict that he would go to the Commanders, but it's another team that had a running back injury that could be in the mix to go out and get one. You be the fortune teller for me in the comment section. What team will Jerome Ford be traded to? Comment down below a team, if you had to pick one, that Cleveland would ship out Jerome Ford to. And what do you think we could get for him? Like I said, I think it's a late pick, but you let me know. Be the fortune teller in the comment section. Folks, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Browns Report. If you want some more rumors and want to talk about some more trade candidates, you can go over to my Twitter at JoeyO70. Give me a follow on there, comment on there. I'll talk to all you Browns fans at JoeyO70. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the Browns Report, and we will see you next time.